Hi everybody in Pobal and welcome to Mud Island Community Garden. I'm going to be showing you how to plant a few seeds that you might be able to put onto your balcony or maybe on your windowsill. Also maybe letting you in on some things that maybe you haven't thought of before if you're a more experienced gardener. So we're going to start off with the first thing, which is of course the seeds. Now the thing about seeds is a very rough rule is you plant them as deep as the size they are. So these are tiny little Mizuna seeds, like a kind of a mustardy lettuce. They're the top of a pinhead in size. So you'd really just put them nearly on top of the soil and sprinkle something on top. Whereas like a pea, you're always going to put that down as deep as it is. So that's the rough rule. Now, if you have, like me, if you are kind of late to gardening, one of the things that used to frustrate me was when I was filling up to plant seeds, I'd fill it up, put the seed in and water it and then wash all the seeds away. So the way to do that actually is to fill it up with the soil and then put the water in, and then you can spray them a little on top and then they don't get washed away. Now don't go off buying expensive kit and expensive trowels. You don't really need to. This in fact used to be a bit from the inside of a biscuit tin. So, and you could use, you know, cardboard, all sorts of things, the inside of a toilet roll. So don't think you have to buy expensive equipment. So we've got this here, we're nearly filled up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just put a little bit of water on it. Oh. Do this obviously on a tray or something, not on the kitchen table, or there might be trouble. So you let it soak for about 10 minutes, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend that we've let that soak for 10 minutes, but you do need to let it soak all the way through. And then when it's all soaked, take off my evening gloves. And when it's all soaked, what you do is you get your seeds, and see these are absolutely tiny, the size of actually they look like lovely poppy seeds. And what you do, thing to remember is not all the seeds are going to germinate. So you plant knowing that not all of them will germinate. So I'm going to put 3 in this one here. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And pretend I've gone all the way along there for the purposes of this. And then what I do is just sprinkle a tiny little bit of soil on top, and then you spray them in like that. And not forgetting, really important, you want to label them with the full name. Like don't just put, you know, lettuce. Put the type of lettuce so you know what it is, and put the date you planted them. And then in that goes. And then what they need is warmth. So what we do sometimes is we actually put a bit of cardboard over them to keep the warmth in. And as soon as they germinate, you see them popping up, you take that off because then they'll need the sunlight. So that should probably only take a week or two. This is why these are so great. They'll only take a week or two to start off. So I'll move these over here and I'll be old Blue Peter and show you, here is what they're going to look like in a few weeks time. This is the exact same thing actually, and that was planted on the 27th of February. So that's like a month later, say. And as you can see, there's 2 leaves coming up. They're called the embryonic leaves. And you don't want to go near them when they're like that. You wait until they have another 2 leaves, and that's when you can transplant them. And you can see there's just 3 here, and look, as if as a gift, it's nearly showing us. See, that one's very weak. That's tiny. I don't know if you can see that. That's tiny. That's a bit weaker, and that's the strongest one there. But we leave them until they're much bigger, and then we'll thin them out and leave the healthiest one. And then what we're going to do is we give them their own little home, like this, you see? So they all have their own little home, and then when they're big enough, they get their own bedroom, you know, like the teenagers get their own bedroom eventually. And what we do is, and this is a great idea, I think, what you do is, if you could do this in the back garden, obviously, or a little container like this from Mendicity, the Mendicity Association? Institute. They raise funds for the homeless, so they're really, really nice. And what you do is, you just transplant these. This is how you try, again, soak them, and then they'll just slide out for you. We pretend that we've soaked this one. They just slide out for you. And then what you can do is, you can plant a whole load of them in here. So you end up with, so take this one here, then you end up with like all these different varieties. Let's just get rid of this here. Hang on. So can you see that there? I'll put it like that, it's probably easier to see. And I think we could fit one more nice colourful one in there. What will we put in there? A nice, oh yeah, look at these, are absolutely gorgeous. We got these from Seed Savers, and they're called trout lettuce because the leaves look like trout skin. And then suddenly you've got an entire mixed salad, either in your garden or on your balcony or on your windowsill. And they need to grow a little bit bigger, but then you can just pick 1 or 2 or 3 leaves, not the whole thing, 1 or 2 or 3 leaves from each one, and you've got a mixed salad ready to go. There's no waste, and that's essentially your extra storage area, your living pantry, if you like. So that's one way to do it. We obviously have them on raised beds, and we have them all the way through the year, right through the winter, and we're still eating them now. So really, really, really tasty and delicious. I'll put it like that, put it on show. How about that? Now, I just thought I would show you this as well, which is kind of interesting. Except if I dropped my knife, I think I might have. Yes, I probably have. Maybe I put it out of my way because, you know, being a child, I shouldn't be. Anyway, what we'll do is I'll just split this open. I'm going to split this open and you'll see. What you can do is you can save the seeds from the tomatoes and you grow them. This is a great bit of fun now for kids because it's usually reasonably successful getting them to germinate. Now what you can do is just simply slice them and put them on some soil and wait for them to germinate in the same way. Same principle, they need moisture and they need light. A good trick as well, actually, after the cardboard you can put a plastic bag over them and it creates a kind of mini greenhouse. So, but you have to keep them moist or there'll be trouble. So, so that's one thing you can do, one way of doing it. The official way of doing it is actually getting the seeds, out, and you see there's this gel on them. And what the real way of doing it is you put them into a glass with some water and you kind of let them ferment for a few days. And it gets rid of that gel that's on the outside of them, and then you lay them out on a plate or maybe a bit of cardboard and let them dry out, and then they're ready for you to sow them. Don't put them on tissue because the tissue tends to get stuck to them and there might be chemicals in the tissues you don't really know, and then they will end up hopefully looking like this. These are tomato plants. They are maybe 3 or 4 weeks old. And again, you can see there's those little, see the tiny little embryonic leaves, can't do anything until they've got another few leaves. And again, you can see some of them are tiny and looking weak, some of them are stronger. And we're going to wait a while, and when we've got the really strong ones, then we'll choose that one to grow on. How's that? Now, would you like any more, or shall we finish up and then we can chat and you can ask me questions in the live feed later?
Yeah, maybe just to say with the pepper they can do the same.
Oh, apologies. You can do the same with peppers as well. I'm sure you've thrown out enough pepper seeds in your life. You can do that with the pepper seeds as well. Same thing, but you should dry them out as well. So same thing with them as well. And just keep in mind, if you're doing this with the kids, it might be a good idea to get some proper seeds as well at the same time, not so you don't disappoint them, because some of this stuff that you buy in the shops doesn't germinate and doesn't grow properly. But Seed Savers, all of their, obviously theirs will grow. So if you have a look at Seed Savers website, they have loads of great seeds that you can buy and grow. So I do think that maybe is it for now, and then we can chat in the live feed later. Okay,
okay, thank you.